As the possibilities for Star Wars continues to shrink, well, the people who have been defending Star Wars might need to see a shrink. They are lashing out, angry at Star Wars Theory and other content creators like Echo Based Network for being so darn successful in what they do. And what they do is they tell the truth. Today we'll pull back the curtain and show you what's really going on with the insane drama, which seems to us to be just another step towards a potential lawsuit against these dummies. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we endeavor to explain ye old entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. Well, we're happy to do that each and every day. The Hollyweirds can't stand it. They wonder, how do we continue to do this day after day after day? Folks, the reason is we love it, and we love spending time with you. Thank you for being here. Let's drop straight into the conversation. We've got a panel ready to talk about what's been going on in this Star Wars community civil war that truly is not. And these blundering, what do we call them? Blundering doofus. Can we put that on a t-shirt, please? Blundering doofus. Well, they've opened themselves up to legal action by basically admitting coordination. Good grief. This is out of Galactic Empire, a Twitter account. It says, it's frustrating that the largest Star Wars YouTube account is run by someone who behaves like a petulant child and whose contributions to the fandom have become nothing but overwhelmingly negative. Now, 54,000 views on that, only 2,000 likes. This is talking about Star Wars Theory. And there is a low influence group of people out there who they're very angry. They're bitter, and I frankly think they're afraid. I want to show this to you all. From Master of the TDS, the damage control for Star Wars Explained is in full swing, and somehow they still believe they're the victims. Mollie of Star Wars Explained is even celebrating the fact that someone has blocked Star Wars Theory despite admitting they have no idea what's actually happening. Meanwhile, Daniel Jose Older, the so-called story architect behind some of the Star Wars The High Republic books, has also thrown his support behind Star Wars Explained, again, without knowing the full context. And you can see some of these images here. So there's a bizarre thing happening. Before we get into it, Jonas, could you explain to the folks out there what's been the beef between Star Wars Explained and Star Wars Theory, and then we'll get into the fallout.
Well, I mean, you could get into the short recent explanation, but there was a large video released by Star Wars Theory, which you could take that with a grain of salt because it's just him saying it. But to recap the basics of that video, he recounted his relationship with this channel in particular. That Theory came out and when he was doing his videos, they were getting lots of views. He was doing fan theories. He was doing his own kind of content and kind of hit the scene and was getting a lot of views and a lot of subscribers in a short period of time. Eventually, Star Wars Explained reaches out and says nice things at the start, but later admits that he was jealous of Star Wars Theory, or I should say he and she, because it's two people together. I haven't actually seen much from
the husband
Alex.
And wife, right?
Yeah, the husband here is letting his wife do all the talking. No comment on that, just to note that that's how it's been going.
But they came out and attacked Star Wars Theory, Ryan Kennel, Nerdrotic, and Geeks and Gamers. Those were the,
right.
those were the
there's
ones.
This growing sentiment, and then within the last few days, when all of this all started breaking out, there was some kind of prepared statement that was going around, probably originating from rewriting Ripley, if not the origin of the entire campaign altogether, that basically said, hey, remember this guy back here? I'm not even going to say the name of the content creator. He's not even a content creator. He's a political commentary. Look at how horrible he was to the actors and actresses in Ghostbusters. Well, all of these people who make Star Wars content are pretty much the same as that, which is a ridiculous framing. I'm just going to point out that that is a ridiculous framing. And then they called on YouTube to cancel all of these creators and also probably Star Wars Theory at the same time.
So let me see if I can boil that down into really simple terms for those who have not been paying attention to this controversy. The biggest Star Wars YouTube account out there, the biggest channel that covers Star Wars, didn't like The Acolyte and was on shows with other people who didn't like The Acolyte. And jealous, smaller Star Wars YouTube channels who did like The Acolyte, but it's bigger than just that. They apparently participated in a concerted, coordinated campaign to demonetize, deplatform, and steal the livelihoods of anybody who disagreed with them on the show. And what's coming out is that it really wasn't about the show. It really was about, let's take this big channel down, and then we'll be back at the top. It's a very cool story. I want to get John in just a second, John, because this is going to be the interesting twist here. Part of what would make this really bad is if Star Wars Explained and these other groups out there were coordinating, because that's against some terms of service issues, and that can also open you up to legal problems. I don't think these people are very smart, and I get to say that because I think that, and I'm going to say what I think. I'm going to show you why I think they're very, very, very not smart, because it looks to me like they may have admitted that it was coordinated. From that Star Wars girl, who's definitely not a part of the bad side of this, she says the amount of backpedaling here is hilarious. Mollie Damon, you're a pathetic liar who participated in a targeted harassment campaign set on destroying other creators' livelihood. You're just embarrassed you got caught, called out, and they have grounds to take legal action against you. Grow up and get help. You seriously need it. Here is Mollie Damon. And by the way, she's blocked me, and I've never interacted with the woman. I have no desire to, so I don't care. But this is what Mollie Damon had said in her post, and this is where the dumb comes in. Mollie Damon, in her defense, said, "Thank you for all the love and support over the past few days," which is what they always say. This is what Concord says, right, as they close the servers. There's no support. It really means a lot. I never started any sort of campaign. Okay. Whether you started it or participated in a campaign is two different things. I just agreed with and shared 2 images that were created and shared first by another podcast who I guess want to remain anonymous in all this. Odd.
Well, if there's one thing about these spontaneous grassroots movements,
hold up just one second.
Sure.
So if they shared this first, then they're not anonymous anymore, unless they only shared it with people whose job it was to disseminate it publicly. Does everybody see the trick here? If you shared it first, you're not anonymous unless you're being protected by people whose job it was to keep you anonymous so no one could track down who was coordinating it, which would then open you up potentially to legal action. These people are so dumb. Marvin, go ahead.
Dumb. But if there's one thing about these grassroots spontaneous movements, it's that they all hand out the same organized literature. Because they were all passing around that 2-page action required with the the little cartoon Millennium Falcon on it. It was 100% organized. It's very obvious, and there are people at the heart of this who have connections that have been rumored for a very long time to what I have Lucasfilm, as I have dubbed them today in my video this morning, the Galactic Fempire and Femperor Kennedy herself. So this, I think that we're just in the shallow end of this right now. I think
is this the acolyte of the Fempire? Is that what you're saying, Marvin?
I think this is
Mollie
the acolyte of the Fempire. Yeah, the Femperor's hand.
That's right. All right, John.
Mollie Jade.
John, you cover this all the time.
Hand, that would mean the man is the woman, right?
John, you're covering this every single day. What are your thoughts on? I mean, it's clear now they've lost because they're just crying. And let me give you one more example.
Lost.
She gives us the what would you say here? If you want the pampered narcissist response, it doesn't get better than this. Anyway, had a great workout today. The weather is finally cooling off, and the pumpkin spice is flowing. Nothing can ruin my fall vibes.
Ugh.
You've got 770 likes. That might make somebody feel it's impressive. Star Wars Theory is still getting millions of views every single month versus your 770 likes of sycophants. John, what do you think? Have they opened themselves up to legal action now by making this middle online?
I think when we originally covered this story, and I didn't know the Star Wars Theory angle, so I'm aware of his video. I haven't watched that yet, but I know when they were first originally targeting Ryan Kinnell, Gary Beekler, and Jeremy Griggs, Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, and Arcade Outpost, Robert Barnes, who is a lawyer, responded to Mollie Damon's original post, indicating that she had indeed opened herself up to potential legal action, specifically defamation. in her original post, and that's in our coverage on thatparkplace.com. So
well, this improved that, didn't it, John? I mean, she really put herself in a better spot if you're about to get sued.
Yeah, and I don't know if Jeremy, Gary, or Ryan are going to do that. I think they might have if you actually saw YouTube take action against them. But these people definitely lost when YouTube said, no, we're not canceling these people. There's nothing really here to go on. Have a great day. Basically told them this isn't working. You tried in 2021 before with the Rewriting Ripley pod. It didn't work then. And obviously, what we're looking at 3 years later now, 2024, did not work now. So that's basically how I see it with Gary. But I really don't know what the Star Wars Theory connection is on that. I know that they were trying to group him in there because he has streamed with Jeremy. He has streamed with Ryan Kinnell before. I'm not sure if he's done anything with Gary before.
So apparently they really hate Star Wars Theory. Like, they really hate him. And he brought the receipts in a video that came out yesterday.
Yeah. I believe he's appeared on FNT, and he is mentioned in the literature that they were passing around.
Okay,
I'll also point out that Gary has
they were trying to demonetize him.
Right.
They were just kind of slandering him.
Right. He's added into, they specifically target Ryan Kinnell and Geeks and Gamers and FNT. Gary from Nerdrotic. And then they call him good faith content creator at the bottom. But getting, what's the point of adding him in there unless they're trying to get him swept in it? This is the kind of thing where I look at it as if they had been successful in getting them removed from the platform, they would be taking all of the credit for it and talking about what a big voice in the community they are. But they didn't get credit. They got they got credit for what they tried to do, or rather the blame for what they tried to do. So now they're trying to run with their tails tucked into their legs. I would just say that if anybody tries to sue someone, whoever originated this is going to come up in discovery.
Mm-hmm. And now it's known that they would come up in discovery. So if you take a swing at the king, you better take him down. They took a swing at a bunch of kings, and I got to tell you, they can do all this little prissy pumpkin spice stuff, all they want. Everyone knows they lost and lost badly, and it's going to damage them for a very long time, if not forever. Culture, how do you see this playing out in terms of their own viewership and influence?
I think it's going to hurt them. I think your inclination is correct. Your instinct is correct. I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. First of all, nobody wants to be perceived as powerless. They've basically reinforced the idea that they don't have any. The problem is they tried to wield what they thought was perceived power, and they set themselves up for an eternal lawsuit. What I mean by that is that if at any point any of these channels are taken down, they can point to this as a concerted effort or a campaign that was orchestrated to take them down and remove their channels. So look, I mean, they've set themselves up forever to be, have a finger pointed at them and perhaps even reveal who the actual bad person was here. You can't run away from that, and I think Barnes is correct, and I honestly believe that it's going to get much, much worse for them. But as far as whether or not they have, they have the kind of gravitas that they seem to think that they had, that they certainly were disabused of that information rapidly.
The claim is the guy involved in Star Wars Explained was literally staying up at night and having to be consoled.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't achieve the same views as Star Wars Theory. And I think that's a dangerous kind of place to be. I mean, that's literally the story of Cain and Abel. I'm telling you, this is the spirit of Cain and all of this. They are so contemptuous and jealous. They can't stand that someone else has more talent at something than they do. And instead of celebrating that and rising with him, they want to destroy him. It's not as if... Yeah,
it sounds like a Sith to me, honestly.
Sounds like the Sith, yeah.
But it all came down to money. I mean, that's what it was. It's not about anything else but money. They wanted to not remove the channels, but remove their money. Right. That's what they were aiming for, because it shows you what they are. They are like the lowest of the low, because they're, what are they called? Cancel bots? Cancel pigs.
They want to
cancel pigs. Thank you.
They want to destroy these people's livelihoods, right? So when you're as big as Geeks and Gamers, when you're as big as Nerdrotic, when you're as big as Star Wars Theory, you no longer are a single individual. Almost never is that happening. It's just too much. So you're like this team of people. So these individuals, while they post about their pumpkin spice lattes, What they really want to do is, if they disagree with you, if they're jealous of you, they want to wipe out the incomes of everybody who works for you as a company. They're crazy. I mean, these people are just, they're insane with greed. Lorena, I know from the very beginning, though, that Star Wars, Rewriting Ripley has had you blocked simply because you have a differing opinion. So these people are not open to any kind of criticism. What's your take on it, Lorena?
The whole situation, or
well, you can start with rewriting Ripley, and just keep on going. You tell us what you think of it.
Yeah, well, we can start with rewriting Ripley, because that's been a recurring thing ever since they came on the scene and then tried to paint a whole bunch of channels as alt-right Yahtzees or whatever. And as soon as someone who happens to be the very, I guess, in the very demographic they claim to be allies of, has a different opinion, they block you and then run. And that's exactly what they did, because I called Rewriting Ripley out on all of that nonsense, and I've been blocked since by them. So I'm surprised that they've actually had the nerve to show their face again with this thing that's going on. And it's like I said, and like I posted in my tweet, these people like Star Wars Explains, which finally blocked me, and Mollie and the rest of them, for some reason want to prop up this black face of failure, which is what the Acolyte was. 100%.
It's the shield that they're using, right? Amanda doesn't know probably that she's the shield.
That is it. And she probably does know and doesn't care.
That's the worst thing.
You can't ignore the fact that that's exactly what this is, because that's their shield to say you can't criticize it because it's great, it's diverse, it's queer friendly, it's blah, blah, blah. And if you hate it, then you're a racist or whatever. But yeah, exactly what it is.
That's all the talking points they used to promote the show like a year out before it even came out. I remember Star Wars Celebration. That's where all of the kind of discussion was just how diverse it was, how feminist it was, etc. From all of the actors across the board that had anything to say about it, including Amanda.
Everybody keeps saying like that Rewriting Ripley is back. Did they like go into exile or something? It made it sound like they were like
they actually hit the pause button. They disappeared for at least 2 years, if not longer. If I remember correctly.
Seriously was exiled.
Oh well, no, they just their backers disappeared, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, there's been speculation about that. I specifically remember somebody reporting that was tied to a big corporation that may not like the people that are, you know, gunning for their terrible television programs.
Oh boy, wasn't anything to do with us, was it?
Yeah, and that's the actual thing right there.
Yes, because Culture, remember the I'll call it the propaganda video that they dropped, and it was definitely something that was not the level of some folks with a with a camcorder sight on medium. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, yeah. I remember little baby Ryan on there, little tiny baby Ryan that they used on there. I'm just kidding, Ryan. You know that, but
all right. Well, Jonas, we're all gonna be babies here if we don't hit the.
That's crazy.
And folks, we've come to the end yet again. Another video of absolute, pure, unfiltered excellence right here on the Pro Channel. Happy to bring it to you every single day. You can help us on our way by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below. Let us know your thoughts. For a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and waste not yours. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to be heading on out towards that 100K. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider it today. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, in spite and despite of the Star Wars community, keep having fun.